Hi and welcome to another video, and today I'm going to be drawing the protagonist for the book that I'm currently writing. Now, I haven't decided a name for him yet, but I have a couple of ideas. The first one is that I think, for the placeholder idea, I'm going to use the placeholder idea if no other ideas work out, but the placeholder is Potato King. But right now, I'm trying to see if Wendel fits well. So, name aside, now I'm gonna start drawing him. Okay, not like right now. First time, because I got a stand-up desk and I was just raising it right now, so it's a bit easier to draw. Now, for his first layer, I'm going to use a digital pen just so I could get down the basics of what I'm doing. So, let's see, what do I want to do? Okay, I got an idea in mind. Yeah. So first, I'm gonna make a very rough sketch, just trying to get proportions good. Okay, that looks good. And then now I'm going to lay out his skeleton, which I'm going to use so that I kind of have like a guide to help me draw him. I should probably tell you some stuff about him, so what's some stuff I could say about Wendel without spoiling the story? Let's see, I kind of like tried him, to make him have kind of like the vibe of a Disney villain, so I gave him like a deep British voice. I also gave him like fanciful clothing. Let's see. What else did I do while designing him? You might actually recognize him because the design is based off of a skin that I made for YouTube, a Minecraft skin. So, yeah, you might recognize him from that. Um, okay, now I'm going to be doing the actual line work. And for this, I'm going to use this nice pencil-like pen at 6.5 px in case you want to make similar work. And I guess I'll get started on his face now. He has two big eyes and is sort of wearing glasses, but they don't have like the glasses line that goes to the edge, which is mostly just for drawing purposes. I find it's a lot easier to just draw him without that. Actually, his face is looking pretty small right now. I think I'll make the eyes bigger. And his eyelids are often halfway closed because, for reasons that will become apparent in the story, he tends to have a very apathetic and cynical view on the world. And here it is. Now next, since I intend for him to, since the original design had his head be a potato, and as a kid, there wasn't much potatoes in media, so this is generally kind of how I thought potato looked, of course without the face. And he has like a floating top hat off to the side like this. And then, of course, he has a neck, and he's wearing a tuxedo with the V thing that goes all the way down. And then here's his tie. And then the line work for this might be a little bit tough, but I think I can work it out. Okay, how's that look? Yeah, it turned out nice. And then next he has these thingies. I don't really know what to call them. Or, not even what to call them. I just don't really know what they're called. And then he has little buttons on them. And I don't know if buttons are on them normally in real life. I just kind of thought it'd be nice to add them. And then he has little pockets here. Some more pockets like this. And that goes all the way down. And then next, here's his arms. Just kind of basically tracing what I did for uh, the original line work. And then here are his hands, which I am going to keep pretty similar. Of course, rounding them out a bit. Although I do like them looking like claws. And then here on the other side, I'm probably gonna have to fix the proportions on the hand. Oh. Okay, my brother and sister just came in, so I could pet Ozzy. Oh yeah, I just remembered. I don't know if it's actually I don't even remember if I uploaded the video where I said it, but I remember one of the videos I mentioned the possibility of us returning him because he was acting up, but I'm pretty sure it's unlikely. And not unlikely as in it feels like it probably won't happen. It feels more like it most likely won't happen. There's not much of a reason that would currently, based off of what we have, what information we have. Okay, let's see. Is that? I don't even really care if it's good. I only really care if it's good enough, which I think it is. His arms do look a bit weird though. You know what? I think I should wait until I finish the drawing to see how the arms come out. And if it doesn't come out good, I draw him pretty often. I could just wait until it feels relevant to draw him again. Okay, next are his legs, which shouldn't be too hard. And actually, I forgot something on the layout, which is his kneecaps. And, well, for the most part, kneecaps definitely can be a bit redundant. I feel like just having them there definitely is important, especially when the knees are bent like this. You definitely need to add the outline. What do I do for the shoe? I think it's just like this. Hold on, I need to take a look at some fancy shoes that I have just so I know how they're usually shaped. These are pretty fancy. I don't even remember them looking like this, but yeah, I could definitely see some stuff to add. First of all, shoes always have like this part. I actually might want to make the details a bit finer here. So there's a part like this with a bunch of little shoe holes. And then this part like this. And actually, I think I'm gonna add the shoelaces in later. Just gonna add a bit of extra detail that I notice. And then I'll just do that with the other one. How's the shoe look? Looks good, I think. At least better than most shoes that I draw. Okay, then 6.5. And then I will add the other leg. I think for Potato King, I actually might want to tone down the human anatomy. I feel like that's part of why everything looks so weird. It's probably because he has a cartoon face but human body, which definitely does work for some characters, but for him, I don't think it does. Okay, then I just kind of basically have to copy what I did on the air shoe for this one. Although it is from a bit of a different angle. So I should probably take that into account. This is a very interesting shoe. I didn't even notice most of these details when I first wore it. Then it goes like this. And I feel like there might actually be multiple types of fancy shoes after doing this. But even though it does look a bit weird, I think that it won't matter too much because his shoes are black, so it's gonna be pretty hard to notice the details. What was my size? Again, I think it was 6.5, right? Okay, let's see. Yep. I think I'm gonna keep it there for now, but I'm gonna come back later. Now, I don't think I need this anymore. And then for this one, I'll just hide it until I need, cause I'll need it later for the size of the wings. Okay, now I'm gonna color him in. Or you know what, maybe I could keep a human body, I just need to make his head a bit bigger. That's pretty funny in my opinion, cause while I was drawing him a while ago, I ran into a problem that his head was too big. And I feel like that could be good. Let's see. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this will work. Because for my tablet, rendering out all of the details for the lines is apparently a lot of work. I'm going to mostly stick to a digital pen for coloring this in. I am going to definitely use the bucket tool a lot though. I am of course gonna outline a lot of this stuff though, just so it doesn't spill out. Oh, you know what? Yeah, that's weird. It's not supposed to be there, so it's a good thing that I caught that. And then I'm gonna use the bucket here and here. And let's see if here works. No, it does not. Okay, so I need to use the brush right here. And then the bucket will work. Nice. And then for the darker splotches, I'm thinking this might work. Yeah, I feel like that works. But then I need this color to be a bit more saturated and a bit more dark. Or I can make the dark parts lighter. I don't really know which part would work the best. I don't know, or which not part. Not which part. I don't even know what I was saying, but I think this looks good. Um, and then for his eyebrows, his glasses tint stuff purple. So I'm just kind of try go in between this color and purple, and keeping the same shade. And with the purple eyes, I think um, it won't look too weird or out of place. And then the beak is going to be like a nice yellowy orange kind of color. Like that. And later I will go back in to fully render it. Wait. Oh! I didn't know you could scroll through these. That's pretty helpful. I don't need to use that right now, but you know, it's good to keep in mind. Now, I designed him while I was going through a bit of a phase, so it's gonna be a lot of red. And then this is gonna be slightly lighter. And this is going to be slightly darker. Yeah, I don't think this one's gonna turn out very good, but at least I tried. I think part of the reason this didn't turn out so good is that it's been a while since I last drew him. So the way that I think about it has probably changed um, with the way that I draw different stuff. So I'm probably gonna have to figure all that out, and then when I feel confident that I could do it correctly, um, I'll make another video. Okay, this is gonna be blue, like a really dark blue. And then I'm just gonna basically bucket this whole thing. Okay, I definitely gotta fill in the shoes, or the edges of the shoes now, because the bucket didn't do a very good job of these, but that's probably because my line work was thin, and it tries to make it so it doesn't spill out of any gaps that are too small, to where the person drawing doesn't know why it's built out. But um, I don't know, it might be buggy, or um, I could have just been unlucky in the cases I found myself in. Or it may just worked correctly a couple times and I didn't notice it. Alright, and then now I'm going to render him. And that means that I'm basically just going to just shade, give him shading and highlighting. So I don't think it'll take too long. I might have to split this video into another two-parter though. Or you know what? If I colored in using this, it will make the shading a lot more eye-catching and feel a lot more natural. Now I think I'm pretty sure this is a color theory thing, which is where different lighting affects how shading and highlights work. And since the setting is very red, all of the shadows and stuff are going to be affected by that, and be leaning towards the red side a bit more. I'm also going to do a rendering layer on top for highlights. That's not a good highlight. Maybe if I do it like here, it could work. Yeah, I'd say that works. And then for the other eye, I of course gotta fill all this in. And then another highlight. Actually, you know what? I forgot that the highlights apply to the whole glasses and that the eyelids are part of the whole glasses. That's why it looked so weird. Okay, this should probably look a lot better. Yep. And then over here, it's gonna be darker and even more red than it already is. Okay. Almost there, and there we go. Actually, I think this does deserve a bit of its own highlight because it's looking very flat right now. Okay, so there. Then this should help break up all that space. And there it goes. Does that look good? I'd say so. Okay, next is the shading for, that was weird, the shading for the potatoey part. This of course is going to be darker and more red. And I also gotta remember to keep in mind where the light's coming from. Like that. And these glasses are going to be casting their own shadows. There's a thin shadow along here. And then the face as a whole is going to get this kind of shadow. Like this. Then of course I gotta fill this part in. And there's going to be a little bit right here. And then the darker splotches also need some shading. And they're not gonna get like their own separate... Okay, hold up. I need to give like an example. They're not gonna get their own separate shading bubbles like this because they're a part of the greater body, which means that they're going to basically just follow the path of the other shadows around in the area, meaning that this one is going to be very dark compared to all the others. This one's gonna get kind of like this thing, and this one I feel like it deserves like its own small shadow. And then of course that means that that's going to apply to this part also. And that's looking pretty good, I'd say. I think I do need some more highlights though. So I'll make it a bit brighter, a bit redder. And I'll just kind of add occasional blotches. Okay. And that's a bit extreme. Looks like this was a photo taken by an old camera. I think I need to be a little less extreme with the highlights. And maybe use them a bit less. And I think that's looking good. Okay, now onto the neck. The neck's gonna be pretty simple, I think. Just like that. And then, actually, you know what? I forgot to color in the pins. The pins are gonna be kind of like this color. That's good. And then I'm gonna go back to shading. Now for here, I think I'm going to go like this so that I can shade in the white parts. Definitely gonna take up a lot of space because there's gonna be a lot more shadows here, considering that's like inside of his normal jacket. And then gonna shade in the tie, so I need to get that color, make it darker, and I don't think I can make it more red, so I'm just gonna have let that be. Um, and then I'm going to draw this out, kind of like a shadow. That's just gonna go back in here. Well, actually, I just noticed I said kind of like a shadow, even though it literally is a shadow. But anyway, I feel like I could say another thing about Wendell here. Like, uh, someone that I was talking to about the book wondered if he had any superpowers. And, well, it doesn't look like it. He actually does have superpowers. Or he has one superpower, which is he has the ability to conjure anything, like how the Green Lantern can. And like the Green Lantern, his powers are not like naturally his, um, but are instead in an article of clothing because they're in his glasses. And actually, depending on the color of his glasses, you could tell kind of where he is in terms of how much he can use his powers. Because at the start of the story, they're actually gray. So anyway, his the glasses don't, because he still has his glasses at the beginning of the story, but he doesn't have any powers because he has these little magical, I like to call them potato fairies, and they get, their whole thing is that they grant the wearer um, the ability to make to make like their like deepest, darkest desires come true, sort of thing. Um, and I really don't want to say any more about them because I feel like that would go into spoiling the book kind of territory. So I'll keep off more about them for now. Um, and in fact, after this, I think I might want to work on the book some more since right now I'm at chapter 2. And chapter 2 is gonna take a while because it's kind of like his training arc. And then after that, there's gonna be a couple more chapters. And then even then, I gotta like figure out how to publish the book. And now I don't even really know how to do that, so I'll have to figure stuff out when I get there. It's super hard to see this color. And in fact, I think if you were on if you were to watching this on like for whatever reason, if anyone watching this or watching it on a old computer, then I'm pretty sure the main color and the highlight color would just blend in. Although I'm pretty sure that most of my audience watches my videos on their phone. Okay, that's looking good so far, I think. I do gotta shade this part though. Just gotta make it a bit darker. That's a bit too dark. There. Am I missing something? I feel like I am. Oh, am I using the wrong brush? I think I might be using... Oh! Yeah, the opacity was really low for some reason. Oh, yeah. That explains why. Okay. The shading on this is going to be pretty vertical because I like thinking of it as a 3D object, and in the middle it's raised, so on the edges are where the shadows are going to be at for the most part. And okay, that's not bright enough. I think that should be fine. Although it might make it look a bit metallic. So I'll see if it's like too weird of an effect. I don't know if it's a big enough problem. I don't think it is. It's definitely gonna look metallic after this. Yep. But honestly, I don't think that's too bad, actually. I definitely want these badges to look metallic, though. So I'm gonna go pretty heavy with that. Okay, looks like I need to make this a bit smaller. I'm zooming in so much that I could like see the individual pixels. But luckily, they are just pixels. So when I back away, then it looks perfectly normal. Not perfectly normal, but it looks normal enough, I think. Huh. I don't think this can pick up that the highlights are different color, so I'm probably going to have to just do this myself. Yeah, I think that's good. Of course, gotta fill in these. And these. Then I got to have shading. Which should go by fairly easy. And then there's definitely going to be a big shadow being casted right here. And another pretty big one right here. This is a lot of red, which is pretty hard to work with it. I added a it to the end, I don't know why. Ooh, that's actually a bit too dark. A bit too light. Okay, that one should be fine. And there we go. Just gonna keep shading like this. This is way too tedious. I know that usually it takes a long time to shade, but this is really tiring. Actually, I think that might be because I have my arm raised because I raised the desk. But I don't know. Oh. Yeah, well. Red is surprisingly finicky to work with. Okay, got shade in the hands now. I think this might actually work better for shading. Yeah, it actually does. Okay, finally here, I'm gonna have some shading. Okay, that should be good. And now for the shoelaces, which are going to be like this. Actually, these are a bit too thick. I'm gonna have it and see what that does. Yeah, that's better. Actually, I think I drew this a bit too big for like a classy thing. I think something like this might work better. And that should be good for that. I think it would be pretty fun to see what it looks like without lines. That's weird. Although it does make me notice I didn't even shade in the hat. Of course, the shading's gonna be a bit red, and that's actually too small. And that's good. You still can't really see the hat, but at least now it's visible. Oh, I've been recording for an hour. It's gonna take forever to upload this video, so I'll see you next time. And just for reference, it's July 29th. So this video is gonna come out like July 30th. um, I'll see you next time in the next video. Goodbye.